We are back. Thank you guys for tuning into Morning Kiss. So we have some amazing hot topics that we're going to go through today, guys, and I can't wait to discuss them and, find out what you think, especially you, Noel. Like, I can't wait to share. All right, the first one, we're going to talk Apple unveils their $549 AirPods Max headphones, and people have some interesting thoughts. Apple's definitely on a mission to take all of our money, obviously. Every 6 months, they seem to come up with a new device, and they're so unapologetic about it, right? But we're still buying it. So what does that say about us? So according to lovebscott.com, starting Tuesday, Apple enthusiasts will have the chance to get their hands on the latest member of the AirPods family. AirPods Max bring the Apple AirPods vibe to a new over-ear design, complete with hi-fi sound capabilities and active noise cancellation. The Max is available in 5 different color options, including sky blue, space gray, silver, green, and perhaps the most exciting of all, pink. All right. So how do you guys feel about the fact that it's over ear? I have AirPods. Coach Johnson has. I know you got AirPods. Do you have AirPods?
Absolutely.
All right. How do you feel about the fact that they're now over the ear? Is that taken away from the fact that they're supposed to be,
well, something like that. And this is just me. Like, I got Bose earbuds that I use. And that's great for personal use and, having conversations on the phone.
Right.
But like over the ear, the only time I really use that is like when I'm here in studio. Yeah.
How about you, Coach?
Well, I think obviously my AirPod Pros I would use on a day-to-day basis, just where I don't have to hold the phone to my ear. But I think with travel, and when you want to, maybe you're in your office and you don't want to be dealing with people or listening to their conversations, whatever the case may be, I think those would be very handy. And I can only imagine if the AirPod Pros sound the way they sound, the over the ear is going to be.
This is going to make you feel like
crazy.
You're in the studio.
Yeah.
Now, are y'all paying $549 for them?
Absolutely.
Said that real quick.
There's no price payment. Hopefully,
right.
that could be a Christmas gift.
Right, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Hint. I hope your wife is listening, Gigi. Are you paying $549 for them, Noah?
Probably not for me, but my daughter usually gets everything. So,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So, I think that, I want to see somebody else. It's kind of like, I want to see the vaccine tested on somebody before I try it. So I want to see somebody else, kind of have them and, be able to touch it and see what their opinions on it. All right. So we're talking Tommy Tyner Lister is dead at 62. Shout out to his family. May he rest in peace. Prayers to them. This isn't easy. Anytime somebody loses a family member or a friend, it's definitely a sad time. But guys, according to TMZ, a release from the LA County Sheriff's Department says that friends and business associates of Lister became worried when they hadn't heard from him. Deputies performed a welfare check where they made their way into his apartment and found him dead. At this point, cops say it's believed that Lister died of natural causes, but an autopsy will be performed to determine an official cause of death. Tiny began landing his bullying bad guy roles in the 80s, but he's most famous for his hilarious role as Debo in Friday and the sequel Next Friday. So I'm hearing some whispers, Noel, that this may be COVID related, allegedly, and I'm just like, no, not again. We can't lose anybody else to 2020 and COVID, and it just sucks. So is 2020 taking everybody out? Like,
man, it's been a very tough year for that. But speaking about Tiny Debo.
Yeah, Debo.
I mean, that guy right there was so iconic for me in my lifetime, in my lifespan. I mean, I first remember seeing him as the character Zeus wrestling Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he was just a big, imposing figure, had all the right little characteristics to play that role. But then Debo, I mean, that was such a big thing, at least from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's literally a term that people use, man.
He's a culture.
I'm a Debo.
I think he's a culture classic for all of us. We'll always remember him as Debo. I honestly, I'm a little bit of a different generation, but we're kind of in that same pocket.
Right, close
but I
enough.
can't see him doing anything else other than being Debo. That, fun fact, I used to see him at track meets whenever we would travel to the West Coast. I don't know what it was about, but he would just be this big dude sitting in the stands just watching the races. And I thought that was so weird. Whenever we'd go to Long Beach Poly or, anywhere on the West Coast, he would be there in the stands just watching all the races. Not like cheering, excited or anything, but just watching. And I'm like, Debo is in the stands watching us race. Like, what? Okay, so guys, I want to get your perspective and your take as men. As men of color, are you guys more aware of your health and taking care of your bodies in 2020, like more than any other time in your lives?
I think you have to be. I mean, obviously, health has to be intentional now. And obviously with COVID-19 going on, it brings you back to some normalcy and saying, wait a minute, your health can get away by working and just doing other things and your levels of stress.
Yep.
But this is kind of bring everything home. If you don't know of anyone who's passed away, you know of someone who's been sick. So anytime something gets close to you, it brings some more awareness. And so you got to do a better job at taking care of yourself. You may contract COVID-19, but the healthier you are, the more ability you will have to get through it. So I think obviously your health is your wealth, and you got to be intentional about taking care of yourself.
I totally agree. I haven't heard of any athletes passing away yet from COVID, so I am a firm believer in the stronger your lungs are, the more you're taking care of your body. There's definitely a connection there. Do you agree, Noah?
I mean, come on, just like what he said, man. Your health is your wealth, and
absolutely.
That is 100% true. And I'm glad I'm on that mission to get back right now.
There you go. All right, guys. So there's the famous Beyonce song line goes, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. A 26-year-old woman sues her boyfriend for not marrying her after 6 years of dating and having a child together. According to the Neighborhood Talk, this woman grew tired of waiting for her boyfriend of 8 years and the father of her child to propose, and she decided that he'd wasted her time to a criminal degree. So she took him to court. Gertrude Noma, age 26, reported she sued her partner, Herbert Selasky, 28, not only for fiddling her years away, but for without proposing to her and also texting other women. Herbert. So he defended himself in court actually by saying he's not currently in a financial position to afford a wedding, and also because Gertrude isn't giving him enough or sufficient attention in their relationship. So the judge reportedly told Gertrude that there's nothing that the court could do because there was no formal marriage. Now, both of you are married, you're married men, and you seem to be very intentional about your relationships with your wives, and that is very admirable. So I got some questions for you. I need to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on this between Gertrude and Herbert? Is 8 years too long for marrying a woman?
Well, I mean, I think that's between the relationship is different for everybody. And 8 years of dating, 8 years of living together, what are we talking about here? So, I mean, I think that's very vague. So without having all the evidence, I guess, then it's kind of hard to make that decision. But I think, after 8 years, if you don't know what you want to do and you're still hanging around, it's like, I mean, that's really on you. You've made a bad decision that's led into another bad decision that's led into another bad decision. And I think out front, here's your expectations as a young lady. You're serious and you want to settle down. Then you got to make your intentions. You
hear that, ladies?
You got to voice your intention. Hey, I like you. I can see having a future with you, but I'm not going to wait around for 10 years for you to marry me, or 8 years, or 3 years, or 2 years. Everyone has their own timeline of what they think is sufficient. My brother got married in 6 months. Me and Gigi dated for 3 years. I've had friends that date their wives for 10 years or less or plus. It just depends on the person and depends on their current situation. I think a lot of pressure on guys to get the right ring, financially, be able to take care of a family, and that might be something that's prohibiting them from taking that step. But the reassurance of a woman that, hey, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to be with you. I want to start my life with you. I don't care where you're at financially or whatever the case may be, might lend that guy to move faster.
You hear that, ladies? You've heard it from an experienced man with a successful marriage. Noel, I want to know how long were you engaged before marrying your wife?
Well, I mean, we were together 10 years before we actually got married. But, we were raising the baby, living together. We were acting as a married couple. We just hadn't officially.
How old were you
married.
guys?
Don't make me do math now and date myself, Don. Come on, man. I was young, okay?
Right.
Once upon a time.
20s, teens,
yeah, 20s.
Okay, so for me, in my eyes, that's, you're still a kid at 20, 21.
For sure.
So you're figuring it out. Okay, so how long have you been married, both of you?
So since we got married in 2014, after being together 10 years.
Okay.
So that is, what is that? What year are we in now? 6 years.
All right. How long you been married, Coach?
15.
Ooh, you say that and it just rolls off his tongue.
How long you said?
15
years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate. I mean.
Okay.
See, if I had moved on, I'd be right there with you.
Right. You know what is it? What is it called where you're not technically married on paper? Common law.
Right.
So do you think y'all would be classified as common law?
That's what
married?
I heard.
All right. Okay. We'll take it. All right. So what is both of your advice? Give the guys out there some advice before asking for a woman's hand in marriage. What would you tell these men?
I would say to be sure, to be intentional, and understand that relationships change. Doesn't matter if it's a marriage or a friendship or whatever the case may be. It changes, it evolves. It's not going to stay the same. And I think communication is the biggest nuance for a failed marriage or a failed relationship, whether that be with your friend, whether that be with your family, whether that be with a coworker. The level of communication and expectation that you have for that person changes as you change and as you grow and as you mature. So you got to be pliable. It's not one size fits all. And you got to hear the person in order to effectively communicate. And you got to kind of have some of the same goals and morals and values that person has for it to work.
I totally agree. You agree with that, Noel?
Absolutely. And I'll just say this 2 quick things real quick. If I could give any kind of advice. One thing is relationships are all about being able to survive the bad times, the tough times. That's what it's all about. It's all good when it's all good.
Right.
But when it gets a little rocky, that's the true test of a relationship. If you can make it through those times, you're golden. And the other thing is, because I hear a lot of people say this, because again, they'll be together, they maybe live together, may have some type of financial arrangement. We're basically married anyway. Let me tell you something. There is something to be said about actually doing it. To do it the way it's supposed to be done, that does change some things. And what I have seen personally in my life and in those who have also done it the right way, blessings come into your life when you do it right.
I agree.
So just keep that in mind.
That's some good advice, Noel. You know what? And I totally agree with both of you. And thank you for sharing that. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the word of the day and our final message.